What's going on, guys? All right, tonight we are previewing the divisions. We're doing the AFC and the NFC South. We'll get some great guests joining us tonight, so stay tuned.
Fantasy football, you dealing with the best. Keep it hype, authentic, this ain't nothing like the rest. With the Armchair Fantasy Show podcast, give advice for all the listeners to improve your stats. Yeah, we live on goingfor2.com. Tuesdays and Fridays, this is what you want. Talking dynasties and daily drafts, and we just getting started, that ain't even the half. Yeah, so go ahead, tell your friends to join. Going for two, cause no one remembers the extra point. Hey, goingfor2.com, the Armchair Fantasy Show.
What is going on, guys? All right, welcome to episode 153 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. Presented as always by goingfor2.com and sponsored by busr.com. I'm here as always with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Searfoss. Ryan, how you doing tonight, man?
Fantastic. Got fishbowl going on. Got some other drafts going on. Or maybe have the sports. Who knows?
Yes, let's hope for that. All right, let's meet our guest tonight. We got Going for Two's own Mr. Dan Turner. You can find him on Twitter with his new Twitter handle, at EagleDanFF. Dan, how you doing tonight, man?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad.
Excited to be here.
Definitely. This is your first time on the podcast, right?
Yep, first time.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. And also joining us tonight is Mr. Kyle White, a.k.a. K. White. How you doing tonight, Kyle?
Doing well, man. Excited to get back on with you guys.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Good to get you back on the show.
For sure.
All right, and just real quick here, I got to get my cameras all mixed up, so bear with me real quick at home while I get my stuff set up here. Make sure I got Ryan on 2. I need Dan on 3. And we got to get Kyle on 4. There we go. All right, I think we're good now. Sorry, we had some issues before the show started that I had to restart everything, so now I got to reset everything. So, all right.
Going live.
Yeah, that's the beauty of going live. All right, guys. So tonight we're here to do the AFC and the NFC North tonight. We got Kyle. Kyle, who are you a fan of? What's your team?
New Orleans Saints.
The Saints. That's right. That's right. And then Dan, I know due to a scheduling snafu, you're actually an Eagles fan. You're coming on to represent the AFC South tonight. So I apologize.
I don't mind.
I thought you were a Cowboys fan, man, but no.
I will kill you.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so I'll go to both of y'all. Just kind of give me a little brief, history about yourself. You know what you do at goingfor2.com, and Kyle, I know you got a podcast. I don't know if it's fancy football or not. If you wanted to plug that, Dan, I'll go to you first.
All right. So I've been at Going for Two for about a year or so now. Right now, I'm doing the rookie IDP profiles / rankings. And also started a new endeavor where I'm translating them into Spanish, actually. So I'm trying to make them multilingual. Yeah. And see how that goes.
Yeah,
so I'm really excited about that.
It's been good so far, man. We got some good responses to that as well. I mean, I can't understand the responses because they're written in Spanish, but I'm assuming they're good.
So you think.
All right, Kyle, you want to plug anything?
I do a podcast with a buddy of mine, FRH. It's called Something About Podcasts. It's a podcast where we review other podcasts. I didn't really get into the fantasy element. I mean, you guys do a good enough job, man. There's anything I do would just be redundant at this point.
Good stuff. All right, let's do news and notes.
News and notes from around the league.
All right, News and Notes is brought to you by busr.com. You can bet on everything from MMA, NASCAR, horse racing to all your major sports, NBA, NFL. Join now by visiting busr.com /goingfor2. That's the numeral 2. And receive a welcome bonus up to $500. All right, so the big news this week, of course, it's not really relevant to fantasy, so to speak, because we kind of expected this to happen anyway. But we'll talk about it real quick. Of course, the big $500 million man, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Ryan, we'll go to you first. Give me your thoughts on this contract.
I think it's kind of actually huge for fantasy. It locks him up in that offense, hopefully paired with Andy Reid for a long time. Like, that makes you have zero doubts in your mind, which shouldn't have anyways, but it locks up everything for them. It's going to be curious to see how they build the team around him going forward the next few years, because as of now, it's not taking up cap space, but coming then, it's definitely going to. So you might see an influx of guys like veteran receivers going in and out in the future. But as of now, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and what I meant by not relevant to fantasy, I meant nothing really changed. We kind of knew he was going to be there. There's no value up, value down. But you're right, down the road it could affect things. I mean, we've seen it with the Ravens, right? I mean, your boy Flacco got a big contract. Nothing like this contract, of course, but he got a big contract, and then y'all couldn't sign any of your players. You lost all your good players from the Super Bowl, and your team kind of went downhill from there.
At the time, it was that contract, though.
Yep.
Like, it's the biggest ever. This is just that at a massive scale.
Yep. What are your thoughts, Kyle, on this contract?
Honestly, it's something that kind of expected to see, really. I mean, at no point in my mind did I ever think that Patrick Mahomes would be anywhere but, Kansas City. So one thing that you guys mentioned is just really what the team looks like going forward and see if they value these draft picks a lot more. Because I think Sammy Watkins had to take a pay cut behind this, if I recall correctly. Yep. And so you have to see how that affects him. Not that Chris Jones is fantasy relevant, but, you have to see if, they can even hold on to him. So, I mean, the team may deteriorate around them a little bit, but at the same time, they may, some of these younger players like McCole Hardman and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they may become even more valuable.
Yeah, that's a good point, because if he has that big contract, they got these young guys, keep him on that rookie contract for a while. They can be good for a while if they can kind of be what they want them to be, at least. Dan, what do you think of the contract, Dan?
I think, we all, like you guys said, I think we all knew he was going to stay there. I think, with this contract, he might even outlast Reed.
Yeah.
So I think, but like going forward, it'll be interesting to see like the quarterbacks like Lamar and Dak, what kind of contracts they get, and if it turns into like a trend league wide, you're going to see a lot of like the mid-range dollar guys get squeezed out in favor of rookie, like cost-controlled rookies. So that'd be something to look at going forward, how it affects like the salary cap and the monetary things that are going on around the league.
Yeah, definitely. And the crazy thing is that someone said this on a podcast, and I thought it was crazy just to think about. But you figure it's a 10-year contract. In 10 years, Mahomes is going to be 34 years old, so he's going to be still within his prime. The contract he could possibly sign there at 34. I mean, you figure Brady's playing until he's almost 40. He's over 40 now. It's ridiculous to think that in 10 years from now, he's still going to be only 34 years old. That's just a long, long contract. All right, we had one more piece of news. This one's a little bit more fantasy relevant. It hasn't happened as of yet. Actually, we got two pieces of news. I got to add something to it that happened today. But the first one here is David Njoku asking for a trade. Dan, I'm going to go to you first because the rumor is that he might go to your division with the Cowboys. That's the favorite there. I want your thoughts on Njoku going to the Cowboys if he goes there.
Well, obviously that'd be definitely be a great thing for the Cowboys. Njoku is really talented. He'd be a really good weapon for Dak, especially like in the short intermediate area of the field. I know they have CeeDee Lamb there. But Njoku 2 years ago, he caught like 56 balls for 639 yards. It's not like he's like a bum or something. Yeah, he got hurt last year, but it was a freak accident. He almost got his neck, broken. Yeah. So I think if the Cowboys were able to get him pretty cheap, because Cleveland signed a couple of tight ends and drafted one, and so if they get him for cheap, that'd be a problem for the rest of the division for sure.
Yeah, I think Njoku just hasn't had a chance to get his sort of feet under him. He's been injured. He had Baker that wasn't really throwing to the tight end there for a little while. He's super athletic. Ryan, what are your thoughts on Njoku?
I mean, first of all, it takes time for a tight end to develop, and he did show out right away and then got hurt. So there's been no real patience with him. I hope he does land somewhere else, just because they have a cluster at all pass catchers. It makes fantasy very questionable and up and down on a week-to-week basis. So I hope he goes. But as of both guys, look at how many players are requesting trades now and not getting it, and better players. Yep. Like, you have Giannis Ndakwe, who's wanted to trade for 6 months now. You've had Jamal Adams, who's wanted to trade for, a year? Yeah. If he's lucky. Just because these guys are asking for it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yep. Good point. Yeah, this isn't the NBA. NBA, you can ask for a trade, and they're going to trade you because they're kind of tied to you. They got to do what you want. Kyle, what are your thoughts on the Njoku? And can you think of another team that he might want to go to besides the Cowboys?
I mean, ultimately, it doesn't come down to what he wants. It's whoever wants him and what they're willing to give up for him. But the first thing that actually came to my mind was, man, I felt really good about Blake Jarwin going into this offseason. Because I don't really think much of Jason Witten. I mean, I know that, he's kind of a catch in the fall type of guy, but Blake Jarwin's always seemed like a guy who was just kind of on the periphery of being good, kind of like on the Jonnu Smith plan, where it's just like, just bide your time behind the veteran, and eventually you'll get your chance to break out. So if the Cowboys are really genuinely interested in bringing him in, they kind of cast a little doubt on that. But as far as where he can end up, honestly, I hadn't even given that a ton of thought, because I was big on Njoku. Whenever all three of the tight ends came out that year, I was like, you know what, he may be one of the better ones, because even with O.J. Howard coming out in that same draft, he was seen as a good all-around tight end, while Njoku was seen as, the better of the receivers. And he dropped a lot of passes, man. He was really inconsistent. I had him in Dynasty, and I'm just like, man. I mean, some of it has to do with the team, of course, and the quarterback situation, but also, I mean, he's not as foolproof as, he's not Zach Ertz,
Yep. Yeah, good call. All right, another piece of news that I wanted to mention just kind of happened about a couple hours ago is Raheem Mostert also asking for a trade from the 49ers. We'll go to you first this time, Dan. What are your thoughts on this trade, or a possible trade?
I think kind of like what Ryan mentioned about how everyone's asking for trades. I think it's kind of in that same vein. He does really well in the Shanahan offense, but honestly, the four of us could do well in the Shanahan offense. So, I mean, and he has a couple of really good backs behind him in Coleman and McKinnon. So it's not like, if he doesn't play, they're screwed. So it really has absolutely no leverage. So it'll be interesting to see, how that plays out, whether the team acquiesces to him or not.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at as well. Like, he's asking for a trade, but for our purposes, for fantasy, you want him to stay where he's at, because I think anywhere else that he goes, he's going to lose value. He's not. I think it was just, as Shepard just tweeted out a minute ago, or maybe it was Mike Clay, that the best place that he can get right now is basically the 49ers for fantasy purposes is to stay where he's at. Ryan, what are your thoughts on Raheem Mostert?
Yeah, absolutely want him to stay. He fits that offense. It gives it some clarity. I don't like Tevin Coleman. I know Cal's hate on Tevin Coleman. When I was, he might have made me hate him more. But I don't know what that backfield looks like without him. Who's going to really step up? I mean, anybody could because of the scheme, but I think he stays there and should stay there.
What about you, Kyle? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's funny that you guys saying that he has the most value in San Fran, because, I mean, the fact that he's been on 8 other teams before he got to San Francisco kind of tells you that, what it's an indicator of, what his success has been at other stops. But the thing is, and Dan mentioned this already, the Shanahan system is great for running backs. I mean, there's a ton behind him. There's Coleman, who, like I said, I don't like him, but, I mean, he can produce whenever given space, and he was given space last year, even though I'm not going to get into that. But, Jerick McKinnon, for whatever that's worth. And then, they still have the guy, Wilson Jr., who played well, specifically in the red zone. And then they picked up Jermichael Hasty out of Baylor. And, he's really kind of a Devontae Freeman type. But in Baylor, I feel like he had a lot of ball security issues, and that could be a problem. But he has a lot of talent. So, I mean, if they do actually trade Mostert, I mean, he'd be someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I agree 100% with everything y'all just said. I mean, like you said, they got plenty of guys behind them. They got Jeff Wilson Jr., which, like you said, he's good in the red zone. Last year, I think he had a total of 27 carries, and he had 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's like a ridiculous amount of efficiency right there. So, if you can get that, and he's a great pass catcher, too, out of the backfield. So, I think that's, working against Mostert as far as getting that trade done. I think it's more of a scare tactic to try to get them to give him a good contract. Because, I mean, does he deserve a contract? Yeah, I think he does. I mean, he played really well last year. He's getting paid like a special teams player. I think he's making $1.4 million this year. He needs some kind of extension, but I don't know if he's looking for too much money. Maybe that's what the issue is. I don't know, but I think he definitely needs to stay where he's at if he wants to maintain his value. All right, guys. Tonight we are doing the NFC and the AFC South divisions for our preview. And if you haven't watched the other two, we do it in a mock draft style. We'll just go round robin in a mock draft style, and we'll pick our players. We're not going to concentrate really on team building, so if you pick all running backs, don't worry about it. We're just going to worry about getting best player available, just so we can kind of preview the division. So let's go ahead and get that started.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right, and we'll kick it off with the NFC South, which I know me and Ryan talked about a little bit on another podcast on the Podathon the other day about how loaded this division is with talent. It's going to be very hard to figure out, who's not going to get drafted. We're going to do 2 rounds here. And Kyle, since this is your division, we're going to go to you first, man. Who you got as your 101?
Man, I was hoping that I'd be second, so I can pick exactly who I really want. But because I 101, I can't pass on Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he had a fantastic season last year, and the fact that they gave him all this money it stands to reason that they expect him to continue this. I mean, he's going to be the catalyst of that offense. The offensive line it leaves you a little bit wanting, but I mean, even last year that was the case, and he still produced better than anyone could have imagined going into the season. So I mean, he's a clear 101.
Yeah, I think it's right. I think he's the 101 in fantasy in general. So you couldn't go any other way here. I'm having a feeling I know who you wanted to go at 102, but Dan, you're up at the 102. Who are you taking here?
All right, I'll take 149 catches for 1,725 yards and 9 TDs. Mike Thomas, please.
Oh, nice. All right, good stuff. I thought you'd go a different direction there, but I like it. I like it going receiver there with the 102. Ryan, you got the 103.
Taking Alvin Kamara. He's been super consistent. Even on a down year, he still produced. He's had 81 receptions 3 years in a row. You know what you're getting out of him, and I think the improved players in the passing game with Emmanuel Sanders and everything may have opened up for him a little bit more as well in the running game. So, Kamara smash.
All right, yeah, I thought Kamara might go 102. So, Kyle, now I'm curious, who would you have taken at 102? Was it Thomas or was it Kamara?
Oh, it was Kamara, man. Kamara's actually going into the final year of his contract. So, I mean, assuming he stays healthy, I mean, he's you know what they say about players in contract years.
Yep.
This is the time for them to really produce at their best. And with Drew Brees coming back and not really throwing deep downfield, I mean, I think they're going to lean on him a lot, specifically with Emmanuel Sanders coming to the team and probably taking a little bit off of Michael Thomas. I don't think Michael Thomas is going to get that many receptions as he did last year. But, yeah, I mean, and like I'm completely biased, man. Like I don't. There's not one running back that I like watching more than Alvin Kamara when he's healthy.
Nice.
Like this dude's a magician.
Yeah, he's awesome. All right, so I'm up at the 104 now, and because this is a dynasty.
Knows this pick.
I'm gonna let you call it, Ryan. Let's see if you got it right. I was gonna say because this is dynasty, my pick would be a little bit different if this was redraft. But if it's dynasty, Ryan, who do you think I'm taking here?
You're taking Chris Godwin.
Yes, I am. I'm taking Chris Godwin. He is my receiver 2 in dynasty formats overall. So obviously, I'm taking him. He's smashing Godwin. I think he's going to be even better with Brady this year. The efficiency is going to be there. Godwin's a target monster. I think that he's just going to get better and better. So give me Chris Godwin at the 104. Back to you, Kyle, with the 105.
I was actually I had Chris Godwin at number 3 for me. So I mean, I was really hoping that he'd fall down. But this one may be a strange pick, but it's definitely DJ Moore. I have really high hopes for him. I mean, the way that people feel about A.J. Brown is the way I feel about DJ Moore. I just think DJ Moore is like a more seasoned version of him. So even with Teddy Bridgewater there, like Teddy Bridgewater's strength is short to intermediate, and DJ Moore is a run-after-catch monster. So,
all right, good stuff. And I did forget to mention at the top there, this is a super flex format, so the quarterbacks will have some value here. I know that some of those guys we just took, probably would be the ones that we take over these quarterbacks in this division, but I just wanted to bring that up there.
All the quarterbacks in this division are like 82.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, Dan, you got the 106.
I'll take Mike Evans. I think he's going to do well with Brady there. I think Brady's arm isn't really what it used to be, so I think a big body receiver like Evans is going to do well there with him.
Yeah, I think Evans gets a big jump in the red zone, which if you look at his red zone targets over his career, it's crazy how he doesn't get them. I don't know what the situation is with him. He's a big body guy, but he always seems to score from distance. And I think his red zone targets, if they go up with Tom Brady being there, definitely wheels up there. I think he can be a monster in the red zone for sure. All right, so we are at the 107, and we're at Ryan. What you got here?
I know it's dynasty, but I'm getting a little bit older. It's too hard to pass up Julio Jones. Even if you get 2 to 3 more seasons out of him, it's going to be good. He's a monster. He hasn't showed any signs of slowing down. and he's their top dog there, and he's still one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah, he's what I probably would have gone with there at my pick if we were doing redraft here. I do think he has a monster season. I think this might be his last monster season. If you look at some of the receivers that have kind of come before him, like Andre Johnson and even Randy Moss, their last good season was their age 32 season, which he's going into this year. So I think, if this is the dynasty, I'd go with Godwin. If it was redraft, give me Julio Jones. So I got the 108, and I'm looking at guys. I still got Todd Gurley on the board. There's still the quarterbacks, of course, but I don't think I want to go quarterback just quite yet. Receivers, we got Calvin Ridley. Tight ends, you got O.J. Howard there, Jared Cook. I think I'm going to stick with the Atlanta Falcons here. I'm going to go Calvin Ridley. I think, like I just mentioned, Julio Jones is probably 1 or 2 years left of being dominant performance. I think Ridley is that next in line there, sort of the taking over like Julio Jones did for Roddy White, and just kind of keep it rolling there. So Calvin Ridley is my pick here at the 108. Kyle, you at the 109.
Yeah, I was definitely hoping you would pass on Calvin Ridley, because really he's the last skill position player I had before I would take any quarterbacks. Because at this point, most of the other skill position players are a little they're not foolproof. Mm-hmm. But out of the quarterbacks, since this is dynasty, it would be Matt Ryan. It wouldn't be Teddy Bridgewater. It'd be Matt Ryan. I think that the Falcons defense will continue to stink, and he's going to have to throw a lot.
Yep. I think it's been Matt Ryan's MO for most of his career. Their defense is not good, and he just throws a whole bunch of so I think good pick there. All right, we're at the 110, Dan.
All right. Well, I know he's ancient, but I can't piss up this stack, so I'm going to take Drew Brees.
Oh, nice. Anything you want to say about Drew Brees and stacking him with MT?
Just MT is his favorite target, and his completion percentage is absolutely ridiculous. So, and especially in Superflex, if I can pick him up as my QB, I'd love to have that. Yeah,
definitely. And that stack is just definitely beautiful because, Drew Brees seems to look for MT every time he drops back to pass. It's crazy how often he throws to MT and how often MT catches it. Some ridiculous catch rate with Drew Brees to MT. All right, Ryan, you got the 111.
We just got rolled real quick and decided we're going to win now mode. So, Todd Gurley. I think he has the most upside to have top-tier performance this year. That offense has been really good for running backs. He's the most talented one they've seen in there. He's just kind of an injury concern because of the last year or so. So, if he's healthy, he's a stud for another couple of years. And you don't have that long of a shelf life on running backs anyway. So, I'll take it where I can get it with some elite performance because everything else is question marks.
Yep, good point. All right, and I am up at the 112, and as talent as his division is, I'm running out of talent to choose from here. I got a lot of shot in the darks here. I got some old guys I can pick from at quarterback. I'm looking at I got Hayden Hurst. He's a possibility. He's pretty young. Russell Gage there. If Julio Jones does move on, Russell Gage could be a decent pick there. At running back, we got Rojo is probably your top one. Keyshawn Vaughn, maybe people love Keyshawn Vaughn, but I think I'm gonna stick with the guy I mentioned earlier, the younger guy, Hayden Hurst. Obviously with Hooper moving on, that leaves a big giant hole at tight end. Hayden Hurst was drafted to be the Ravens' number 1 tight end, and then Mark Andrews happened. So I think Hayden Hurst still has the athletic ability, still can be a breakout tight end there. Matt Ryan loves his tight ends, going all the way back to Gonzalez. So give me Hayden Hurst here at the 112. And then coming back around at the 201 on the back-to-back, I'm going to go with the running back here. I'm going to go ahead and get Rojo. I do think he is decent enough. I don't know if he's going to be the pass catcher there. Obviously, he can't catch passes very well, so it might be Keyshawn Vaughn catching those Brady passes, but I do think Rojo is going to have a semi-breakout season here in year 3 with that offense with Tom Brady, and I think that's at this pick at the 201, he's a great value. All right, Kyle, you're up at the Ryan, you're up at the 202.
For 202, I don't love everything, but I'm still going to go with the natural talent that just has not shown up yet on this. I'm going with O.J. Howard. I believe everything I saw of him coming out. He has everything you want in a tight end. He's just been in an offense that's refused to use him. Maybe Brady there will open things up, change it. Maybe he'll get out of there. But I believe in the talent. I think he has the opportunity to become a tight end one eventually. And he's still only 3 years in the league, so there's time.
Yeah, that's a good pick there. I mean, definitely banking on his youngness and his youth, and hopefully that he eventually does break out. 203, Dan.
Well, since he's still on the board, and because I love old QBs, and this is Superflex, I'll take Brady.
All right, going with the old man Brady right there, the 42-year-old. He's 42, right? He's like my age. I think he's like 42.
Yeah,
43.
42.
Yeah, he's up there. I mean, I couldn't imagine playing football right now. All right, Kyle at the 204.
Man, I was actually hoping that you guys would just let Brady fall, because at this point, I'm definitely going with Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not really feeling good about like immediate returns from a lot of the people left on the board, but there's a lot of young talent in this division, so I know that there's some people we can get on the way back.
All right, good stuff. You're leaving me with a whole lot of nothing here. Let me take a look and see what we got. Yeah. Let me get Jared Cook. I do think he showed some good stuff last year before he got hurt. I think he has a couple good years left in him if he can stay healthy. He's got Drew Brees there for at least one more year. I do think that he's their red zone guy. He was showing flashes and then he got hurt at the end of or middle of last year. So give me Jared Cook. Ryan, you're up at the, what are we at, the 206 now?
Yeah. So 206, taking Keyshawn Vaughn. He was second round pick, so he has some draft capital. I could see the Bucs rotating running backs, playing the hot hand, which gives him an opportunity, and that's all you need is an opportunity to show out in the NFL. So I'm going to pick him in the hopes that he can overtake Rojo or at least get majority carries with him.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I thought about him in my last pick, but it's tough to say what they're going to do there with that running back core, so that's why I passed on the running back there. Dan, you're up at the 207.
All right, well, since Vaughn is gone and I was hoping he'd last one more pick, I'm going to go ahead and take Gronk.
Take Gronk. All right, so you're just going to stack all your players there. You got Tom Brady, Gronk.
Just for familiarity's sake, with seems to be no offseason happening pretty much. So I think Brady's going to look to him early and often when he's in a jam. So,
yep, good stuff.
So that's a good pick.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think he gets the touchdowns there too. I think they're going to probably limit him a little bit. Hopefully, rotate O.J. Howard in behind him, and he'll be the red zone sort of threat down there. All right, Kyle, you're up at the 208.
Yeah, this will probably be an unpopular one, but I'm taking Latavius Murray here. He has his own standalone value, even whenever Kamara was hurt, and he produced. But whenever he's healthy, he still produced. There was a lot of times where Kamara was healthy, where they took him off the field and gave it to Latavius Murray to actually get into the end zone. And after watching the Saints for as long as I have, you always know that they want to have more than one running back in the fold. So I think that he still has standalone value in more than just a Kamara handcuff.
All right, good stuff. I love that pick there. All right, I'm looking at three young receivers here right now. I'm looking at Traquan Smith, Robbie Anderson, or Curtis Samuel. When I think of those three, I think Robbie Anderson probably has the inside track there to have the best season. I think Curtis Samuel is what he is. Traquan Smith now has some competition there with Manny Sanders. So give me Robbie Anderson, who they went out and got in free agency, and hope that he can actually turn to something in Carolina. All right, Ryan, you're at the 210.
I guess I'll take Curtis Samuel. I don't think he's ever going to be more than a wide receiver, too, if that. But he has big game upside. I could feel decent playing him in a pinch. They find ways to get him the ball in space, whether it's end around, screen passes. It's just finding a role for him. So I'm hoping there's some reason he can produce for me, because it's got real scarce real quick.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. I just literally got a trade involving Curtis Samuel, literally right now on my phone. So I'm going to have to go and look at that in just a minute here and see exactly what that trade is. All right.
Just getting rid of him?
I have Curtis Samuel, and someone's asking for him. They're giving me something. I don't know what they're giving me yet. I'll look at it here in a minute.
A yogurt.
All right, Dan at the 211.
Is Russell Gage still there?
He is still on the board.
Then I'll take him.
All right,
I figure if this dynasty and if Julio doesn't stick around. I think Gage could get some really good opportunities in Atlanta with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, good call. Good call. I like it. All right, Kyle, bring us home. What do you got for the final 212?
All right. So if there's a real draft, I would go a different direction here. Because there's a lot of, as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of people still on the board. Emmanuel Sanders, I thought one of you guys would have taken him by now. Adam Troutman, another guy I like a lot. Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. I mean, would it be in super flex? And, Breeze is probably only good for another year. Ian Thomas, also out there. And I think that he's good. He's good to have a year. But really, the person who I wouldn't pick under normal circumstances, but I really want to talk about him a little bit, is Raymond Calais. The third running back with the Bucks. I'm not a Ronald Jones fan. I never have been. I think Foss is extremely aware of that, probably painfully aware of that. But Raymond Calais, I don't know why, man. I just keep getting this James White feel,
Okay.
And with Brady there, I could see him being the dump off guy a lot, man. He may end up being a real PPR threat.
All right, nice. I love it. All right, that wraps up the 2-round draft for the NFC South. When we come back from commercial break, guys, we are going to tackle the AFC South, so hold tight.
In the unpredictable world of fantasy sports, when all hope seems lost and chaos and confusion rule, one hero will rise. And change everything. Goingfor2.com. Because no one remembers the extra point.
All right, guys, welcome back. We are here with Kyle, Dan, and Ryan, and we are doing division previews. We just did the NFC South. Now we're going to move into the AFC South. Before we do that, I meant to do this before the break, but I wanted to bring this up. So we're running a contest right now, and this is the championship belt that I just received in the mail the other day that you could possibly win. Oh, got it upside down here. So it's the Going for Two Grinders Championship. It's basically a Week 1 NFL contest on DraftKings. If you go to goingfor2.com/grinder, you can sign up. It is for charity. You can leave a donation there on the GoFundMe page. We've already raised $375. We've had some pretty nice donations there, so definitely check that out, guys. Go to goingfor2.com/grinder. Like I said, it's a Week 1 contest. You join. It's free to join. There's no entry fee. We just ask that you donate some kind of small amount to the GoFundMe page, and all the money goes to the Fantasy Football Cares charity that Scott Fish runs. If you're on Twitter, you know who Scott Fish is. He runs a great charity over there, so we're going to donate everything to him. We are way above our pace from last year. Last year, we ended up getting, I think, $770 total at the end of the contest, and we are way above that pace. At this time last year, we had 0 because I hadn't even started the contest yet. So the fact that we're already at 375 is awesome. I'm hoping to get to 1,500 by the end of August. So again, the belt, if you can win that belt in Week 1. So if you want to do that, just, again, go to goingfor2.com/grinder. All right.
Attention, everyone. Let's mock draft.
All right, we are at the AFC South, and we are kind of giving Dan the honorary title of the AFC South representation since he is actually an NFC East guy, but scheduling issues kind of messed that up. So, Dan, you have the 101. Who are you going with here in the AFC South? And keep in mind, this is Superflex.
Right. So I know this is a little bit of an upset, and he is a rookie, but I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor.
Oof. Nice. You got to explain that pick, why you passed on the quarterback there.
I do. Well, on the quarterbacks, Rivers is old. Tannehill, while efficient, I'm not really excited about him. And Watson just lost his best receiver. And I was also thinking about Derrick Henry, but I think the mileage that they're putting on him, he's due for a breakdown in the next couple of years. So I think Jonathan Taylor in like a year or two is going to be a top 10, top 5 fantasy back. So
nice. I like it. Go
JT.
Good stuff. Kyle, you got the 102.
I don't know, man. Kind of feels like I got the one-on-one. I'm taking Deshaun Watson, man. One thing that Houston did, even though they did trade off Hopkins for absolutely nothing, they did do something interesting, which is give Deshaun Watson 4 at least B to B minus receivers instead of the one great one. He has Brandon Cooks, he has Will Fuller, he has Kenny Stills, he has Randall Cobb, he has options. And Deshaun Watson never hesitates to go deep, and he has a lot of deep threats. I can see, and I mean, at this point, I honestly can see him having a huge year. I can see him having an enormous year, and I don't think he's going to get any worse.
Yeah, I love Deshaun Watson as well. The kind of crazy thing to think about, I think this is his contract year, I believe, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Yeah, so Houston's got to pay him, and they haven't shown that they want to pay anybody lately. So who knows if he's even going to be in Houston next year? It could be a big shift for them. All right,
yeah, man, and he has two prolific receiving backs too. So I mean,
yep,
the table's set for him.
Yep, I agree 100%. All right, Ryan, you got the 103.
I was tough. I was between two guys here, but I'm going to go with Derrick Henry. He's a workhorse back, and yes, there's the fear of him breaking down, but that dude is a freak of nature, man. He's huge. He runs through people. That offense runs through him. I agree. I think if he goes to a different place, it could affect his production because he's not built to be running out of the shotgun. He's built for that old school football. And right now in Tennessee, he's a beast at it. He's going to give you 1,200 plus yards, plus touchdowns. I'm going to go with the workhorse back.
All right, good stuff. Man, the 104 in this division is not a good pick to have, that's for sure, because that talent drops off pretty drastically after that pick. So I'm looking at a couple guys. I got the older running backs like David Johnson. I got Leonard Fournette, who, if this is redraft, I'd pick him, but I'm afraid of his long-term value. I don't think he'll be in Jacksonville next year, and then it depends on where he goes for his value. So give me the guy who's going into his second year that was a beast last year, Mr. A.J. Brown. I'll take him off the board. Kyle, back to you. No, I'm sorry, Dan, back to you. I think you're on mute, Dan.
Is that better?
Good to go. You just pulled a Ryan.
You've done that more recently than me.
All right, so sticking with the receiver thing, I'm going to pick up DJ Shark.
DJ Shark,
so,
nice.
He got 1,000 yards last year, 8 touchdowns, and I think he's only ton of upside. So I really feel good about that pick.
Yep, I like that pick as well. He was I was debating him when I took my pick. And Kyle, I heard you over there groaning. Did he snipe you there?
Yeah, he sure did, man. It's weird because you said at number 4 there wasn't a lot of there's a talent drop off, but I thought AJ Brown and DJ Chark, man, I keep them up in that same echelon. It's now I feel like there's a drop off. I mean, there's one guy who I believe will produce. I mean, we don't even know if he's going to be with the same team a year from now, but for some reason he's able to bust off these 73-yard runs and get caught before he scores every single week. But I mean, it's fantasy points, and that's Leonard Fournette.
Nice. Yeah, he was an option for me. His long-term value kind of scared me a little bit. If we were doing redraft, he would definitely have been off the board already. All right, Ryan, we're up to you at the 107.
Yeah, it just got real gross after Fournette. It's kind of a drop-off there. And it's between David Johnson or, I guess, a veteran receiver. So I'm going to go with David Johnson. It's new offense. It was an arm injury last year, so hopefully he's healed. He shouldn't be seeing many stack boxes with Deshaun Watson there. He's a good pass catcher, so you should give him a good dump off. When you don't have the greatest tight ends, they're okay, but they're not as good as Johnson in open field like that. So I'll take him off of a year or two rental.
Yep, I like that pick there, David Johnson. I think I'm going to go, because it's super flex here, Tannehill's not that old. I think he's 31, 32, something like that, and I think he is pretty efficient in that offense. They're going to, be what they are. Run the ball, be efficient, don't turn it over. Tannehill's got upside with his legs. So give me, in super flex format, give me Ryan Tannehill. All right, Dan, and we're back to you with the 109.
All right. Staying on brand from the NFC South, I'll take the DJ Shark stack and take Gardner Minshew.
Nice.
I think he had a decent year last year, over 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 picks. I think with the job's his now pretty much, so I think he'll do good things this year.
Yep, I like that pick there. He definitely has some good upside, and it's his job right now to lose. There's no Nick Foles breathing down his neck. All right, Kyle. I don't know where you're going to go here, man. It's getting ugly.
Actually, man, I'm between a few, but there's one person who I drafted in all my rookie drafts that I'm glad he fell into my lap now, and that's Michael Pittman Jr. With T.Y. Hilton getting a little bit older, with what's the guy's name? Paris Campbell not really turned into anything. I mean, I feel like, and even Zach Pascal I don't think he's the answer there. So Michael Pittman, man, he has the opportunity to do something big. And I know that after the draft, the Colts said that, he was like one of the top receivers on their board. They were ecstatic to get him. So I know that they have a plan for him. So I'm banking on the upside.
Nice. I like going with the rookie there. That's a good pick. All right, Ryan, where are you going? Where we at, the 209 now or 208?
Yeah, 208.
I lost track.
Yeah. I'm going with Johnny Smith. He has all the profile of a breakout type tight end. He had really good air yards. His run after catch was top 3 for the position. His separation was top 3 in position. He did all the things that we saw Mark Andrews do before he saw volume. And I'm looking at stuff like that for that possible breakout. And as a young guy on a team that's been traditionally tight end heavy in the pass game, I love the skill set. He's athletic, he's big, he's strong, and except he can produce and he can make plays with the ball in his hands.
Nice.
That's the kind of weapon you want in offense.
Definitely. I love it. All right, I almost put this guy in my last round, but I kind of floated him hoping he would stick here. I know Ryan probably knows who I'm going to take. Yeah, he knows who it's going to be. I've been picking this guy literally in all my drafts. I talked about him during the Podathon for Scott Fishbowl. I'm hoping to get him in the Scott Fishbowl, and that's Mr. Nyheim Hines. Talked about it a million times, but the Chargers, when they had Phillip Rivers there was only I think 1 or 2 years total that the running back did not finish as at least the number 2 target on the team. We know JT can't catch passes really, or at least we think we know that. We haven't really seen it. We know that Marlon Mack can't catch passes, so Nyheim Hines is going to be that pass-catching running back. If he ends up being number 2, even number 3 targets on that team, I think that he's going to have return value from where I'm getting him here. All right, it was actually the 112, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that was the 112. So we're gonna do the back-to-back here. So I got Nyheim Hines, and then on the back side, let me get the upside of Mr. Will Fuller. When he's on the field, he's amazing. The problem is he's never on the field. But I think at this point in the draft, I'm looking for upside, and I think he has the most upside. We've seen what he can do with Deshaun Watson on the field as well. And especially now that DeAndre Hopkins is gone, if he can be that deep threat again, he's wheels up for me. All right, Ryan, back to you. I'm sorry, 202.
I'm taking Brandon Cooks. I like him in that offense. Kyle mentioned it earlier about Watson loving to throw deep. When he gets that with Fuller already, we'll have that with Cooks. And I think Cooks brings a little bit more. We've seen him be used in different ways depending on his quarterback. And when he's on the field, he's done nothing but produce. He had the 4,000-yard seasons with 3 different quarterbacks. Other than last year, he's played 16 games every year. He's a lot more consistent than people give him credit for. And he has the opportunity. He could be the top receiver there because he's done nothing to show us anything different in his career.
Good stuff. 203, Kyle.
All right. I'm going to take T.Y. Hilton. He's a little on the older side. He's been injured a lot. But I think he has probably another good year or 2 left in him. I think he can kind of fill that role that Mike Williams and Tyrell Williams had with Phillip Rivers going deep. I know Rivers' arm isn't what he used to be, but I mean he's a gunslinger. I don't think he acknowledges that his arm strength is diminished, and he's still going to throw deep anyway.
Yep.
So I think T.Y. Hilton has at least another good year or 2 left in him.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hilton, if this was redraft, he would have gone a lot sooner than this because I do think he has that upside there. All right, Dan, you're up at the 204.
All right. Well, since I took one rookie back, I might as well take another. I'll take Darrington Evans.
Nice. I love Darrington Evans.
Yeah. He's not the same kind of back, obviously, as Derrick Henry is. He's a small, shifty back. Ran a 4.41 at the combine. I think in that offense, though, he can catch a ton of dump-off passes, and he'd be great with a really explosive ability to score.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think Ryan knows how much I love that pick because I've been drafting him pretty much every draft that I've been in. I've been mock drafting and rookie drafting, and I've been taking him everywhere.
I was going to take him just to snipe you. It would be better.
All right, I lost track of where we're at now. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep track of too many things here. So let's see. Dan just went. So Dan, you were the 204. Or was that the 208?
204.
That was the 204. So now we're at the 205, and that's on me. So I'm looking at. I'm actually going to go with the young quarterback here, Mr. Jacob Eason. We talked about Phillip Rivers being a little bit older. I think Eason eventually gets that job. So give me Jacob Eason there. And Ryan, we're up to you with the 206.
I'm going pure upside on this. I'm going to Laviscus Chenault. I had a lot of concerns about him coming out just because the way his production was such a roller coaster in college. But part of that could be the offense and quarterback. So what he did do is he was unbelievable running after the catch. He's a super athlete. He can play big football, he can box out. He can do a little bit of everything. It's just a matter of putting it together. If he can do that, he could be a stud at the receiver position. So I'm just going to bet upside on him.
All right, I love it. I got him in my rookie draft in my main dynasty league, and I'm hoping that he does something because I need some help at receiver for sure. All right, Kyle, you were up at the 207.
Is it me or Dan? Is it?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Kyle, you're up.
Oh, yeah, Kyle, you're up. Yeah, because we switched. We're at the second round, so
okay.
we're going backwards.
Cool. All right, so there's two players left that I'm I really like to get, and I'm hoping that you guys don't grab him the second time around. But so this time I'll just go Marlon Mack. Whenever he's healthy, he has shown that he's a good player. I didn't really like him coming out of USF a whole lot because he kind of seemed like rookie year Reggie Bush, where he couldn't run between the tackles and he really just needed the crease to get busy. But he showed me a lot over the last couple of years. He's much better than I thought. What happens to him now that Jonathan Taylor's there, I'm not sure, but who knows? Maybe he could end up in like some midseason trade where he gets a chance to keep his career going.
Good stuff. All right, Dan, you were up at the 208.
So I'm going to go with give me Jack Doyle. I think Phil Rivers likes his tight ends.
Good point.
And Doyle's always been really consistent in Indy, and the coach loves his tight ends there. And I know they signed Trey Burton, who has history with Frank and everything, but I think Doyle will still produce pretty decent numbers for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I agree. I think Doyle's just one of those sort of solid tight ends that's just going to be catch it and fall down kind of guy, but Rivers just love his tight ends, and that'll be a guy that's going to be heavily targeted. All right, so I'm up at the 209, and I'm looking at a couple receivers. I got D.D. Westbrook on the board. Kenny Stills is there. The running backs, we got Chase Edmonds and Duke Johnson. Tight ends are pretty ugly. I don't even want to look at the tight ends. That's how ugly they are. So let me get my boy from a few years ago. He never really panned out to be that guy that I thought he was going to be, but Mr. Corey Davis, this is going to be a contract year. They didn't pick up his fifth option, so maybe he has a good season and then he goes somewhere else and can be the number one or even a solid number two somewhere else. So I'll take Corey Davis here at the 209. And we're going to you, Ryan, with the 210.
I'm going to take the old man, Phillip Rivers. This offense gives him a great offensive line, which he hasn't had for a while. He has some weapons there all around. It's a good fit for him in that offense. I think he can have a nice year this year. Doubtful he plays a second after that, but if he does, that's a bonus. But this late, that's fine. I'll take it for the rental.
Good stuff. All right, and Kyle, the 211. Who you got? Did your guy make it back to you that you wanted?
He did, and then after the comment you made, I was like, yeah, he's definitely making it back. It's Josh Oliver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They loved him in camp. He's super athletic. They brought in Tyler Eifert, but Tyler Eifert can never stay healthy. But don't forget that they also brought in Jay Gruden, and if Jay Gruden can turn Josh Oliver into Jordan Reed, that's kind of what I'm banking on.
All right, good stuff. And before we get to the 212, we did have a question real quick on Facebook. The question is, who scores more fantasy points this year? Jonathan Taylor or Leonard Fournette? Ryan, who do you think?
Oof. I'm going to say Fournette because I think the Colts could spread the ball around earlier in the season while he's getting his feet wet, and Fournette's just going to be ran into the ground because that contract's running out, so why not?
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Kyle? You think that's going to be Fournette getting more points this year?
Yeah, because the Colts have 3 viable options at running back. They have Marlon Mack, and they have who we're hoping will be the next Austin Eckler and Nyheim Hines. So I don't think they're just going to go away from them just to run him into the ground so early in his contract.
All right, and Dan, I left you for last on purpose because you got the 212 as well. So go ahead and make your 212 pick and then answer the question.
For 212, I'll take Duke Johnson. Last year he had 800 yards, over 800 yards rushing, receiving, and I know David Johnson's there, but frankly, I hate everyone else on this list. So
process of elimination at this point.
So I'll take Duke Johnson.
All right.
As for Fournette, I think it's definitely going to be Fournette. Even though I personally drafted Jonathan Taylor, I think Fournette's they're not going to re-sign him. That's obvious. They're just going to run him into the ground. And so he's definitely going to get the opportunity, the more opportunities than Taylor is this year.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also that we didn't talk about it too much, but the shortened offseason is going to hurt Taylor a little bit as well. Just learning the scheme, learning all that kind of stuff that the rookies need to learn, pass protections, those kind of things that might hurt him early in the season. He won't be sort of at the rookie level until probably week 3, week 4. And Fournette is just going to come out and they're just going to run him to death, especially with Minshew back there being a newer quarterback, a younger quarterback. They're going to try to protect him a little bit and just run Fournette to death. So if it's just 1 year, I'm giving Fournette the edge there as well. All right, we're coming down to the end. This is our favorite segment of the night.
Get ready for GoingFor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, Dan. We always go to the newbies first. So you're a first time guest on the show. So we're going to go to you first. Who's your forgotten fantasy player?
All right. So I took this guy on the last round in a draft in 2009. Buffalo running back Fred Jackson.
Ooh.
I actually had to start him because of injuries in the championship game, week 16. He rewarded me with 33 carries for 212 yards and a receiving touchdown and won me the title.
Whew. 33 carries. That's something we see in the NFL very much. You don't get that anymore. You get those rookies, those committees. You don't see 33 carries very often anymore. I love it. Fred Jackson was awesome. All right, Kyle, who you got for your forgotten fantasy player?
Honestly, man, I forgot you guys did this segment, so I'm like trying to go through my head.
So
but 2 people immediately pop up to me, and one is Rudy Johnson, and the other one is Reuben Drones.
Reuben Drones, nice. I love it.
Because I remember whenever Reuben Drones just kind of busted onto the scene with Denver, and then he got picked up by Cleveland, and he still went crazy in Cleveland, and just completely fell off a cliff after that. But that guy is completely forgotten. I'm not even sure if people even remember him.
Yeah, Reuben Drones is an awesome pull. The fact that you did that sort of on the fly there is awesome as well, because I would have never pulled that out of my hat.
Hey man, that's how good an impact he had for me, man. Because no one was really checking for him, so able to pick him up out of free agency and just make it work. You remember those people.
Yep, good stuff. All right, let's go around the room one last time here. Give us your Twitter handle, where we can find you at. If you got a podcast you want to plug, any articles you're working on you want to plug, go ahead and do that. Dan, I'll go to you first.
All right, you can find me at EagleDanFF. I'm currently writing the linebacker portion of my rookie IDP, so look out for that.
Good stuff. And Kyle?
You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Terrific2, Mr. Terrific2, and my podcast is Something About Podcasts. Check it out.
Yeah, good stuff. Ryan, I know you got a lot of shit going on right now.
Yeah, hopefully it's calming out, kind of, but I got bamboozled. So you can find me here. You can find me on Twitter at Foss534. You can find me here every Wednesday. Matt Hicks over at Dynasty Draft Room bamboozled me into doing a series where we're doing projections for all 32 teams. Oof. And it's an episode per team. They're about 20 minutes. They're awesome. We recorded the first 4 last night. They're a lot of fun and very informative. And we have some great guests coming on as well for that. And hopefully we write something soon once I can find some time away from podcasts.
All right. I just wanted to plug one last time. Going for 2 Grinders Championship. Week 1 DFS contest on DraftKings for charity. Just go to goingfor2.com/grinder. No S on the end, just grinder. You can donate there. You can sign up there. once DraftKings goes live with their contest for week 1. Hope and pray there is a week 1. I'll send out the URL to everybody to join. It was a great contest last year. We raised almost $800 last year. We're already up to $375 this year. So if you play DFS, definitely go join. As always, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77, and we'll see you next week.